Every time they tell me stop, I use every comment, hate that makes my fuel. Gather up my energy and boom, I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with, giving my blood, so I am relentless.
Welcome to the Keep Hammering Collective. I'm here with Chad Money Mendes. Do you still go by as Chad Money, or is that?
Yeah, I mean that's up to everybody that basically calls me by my nickname. I don't know. Do you want to hear the funny story about how that came about?
Yeah,
real quick before we get started on this.
Sure.
So, it actually used to be Money Shot Mendes.
Okay.
And, if you know what that means in the porn world, that's kind of something a little bit vulgar. But so I graduated.
What does that mean in the porn world? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that.
We'll leave that to the imagination.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe Google it if you don't know.
Oh,
but,
okay, great. I'll do that. Yeah.
So I graduated, threw all my stuff in U-Haul. The very next day, moved up to Sacramento. I moved from Cal Poly, St. Louis Obispo. Jumped right into pro practice and started training with these guys. I had no idea what I was doing punching wise. I have this big goofy headgear on, big old 16-ounce gloves, shin guards, and these guys are just socking me up. So I just kept double legging everybody, and getting them on their back because it's the only thing I knew how to do. Mm-hmm. And so after practice, Faber's like, man, he's like, your shot is money, dude. You were crushing everybody with that. And he goes, that's got to be your nickname, Chad Money Shot Mendes. So honestly, for my first 5 fights, that's what it was. And then I signed with Pepsi and I got in with Zuffa. And they're like, yeah, that's not going to fly. We're going to have to change that. So ended up dropping the money, but just a quick tangent there for you.
Well, it wasn't like Chad Glory Hole Mendes.
Yeah.
so I mean,
that, I guess.
Yeah, it could have been worse. But so money, so that's up to the fans whether they still call you money.
Yeah,
I still like it.
Yeah, I'll go with it. I don't mind it. I enjoy it.
Well, I put up this, knowing you coming on. So when I was making coffee out there, I put up the little post that, hey, does anybody have any questions for Chad? Knowing we're doing this podcast. Mm-hmm. And this had me thinking, it says the top 3 MMA GOATs and why Khabib is not in it. But aside from that, I was thinking you have fought like some of the legends ever in MMA. I mean, Aldo, Conor, Volk.
Yeah,
you've been in there with freaking beasts. Frankie. Yeah. Can you believe your career has went from, you just said you started, you didn't know anything, you came in as a wrestler, and now you've, had just this incredible career and you're still not done. And you look better than you've ever looked. You're training hard. We just ran the mountain. What has it been like, looking back, just this long career?
Yeah.
How do you see it yourself when you look back?
Man, honestly, I feel like it's a little bit depressing to me, but it feels like it's gone so fast. Like I was just saying this the other day, like where did 15 years go? Like, I remember my senior year in college, like talking with Uriah and him being like, dude, you should come and try this MMA thing after if you want. Just come. I got an extra spare bedroom. You can crash at my place till you make some money, figure out if you like it or not, and go from there. So, man, that just feels like yesterday. And it feels like almost 2 separate worlds of mine. Like, the old college days, wrestling, grinding, going straight from graduating into living into Faber's, spare bedroom and fighting for $2,000, which, even at that point, compared to what it was when Faber first started, I think he made like $300 or $400 his first fight or something crazy like that. Mm-hmm. But it's just crazy to see the gap and like think back about, how much time and energy and effort that I've put in from 5 years old, from wrestling, then all the way up through college, and then taking that next chapter of life into the MMA world, into now what we're doing, the bare knuckle stuff, and spreading into the Finz and Featherz and all these other businesses. It's been a crazy ride, man. It's I feel blessed. I feel like I've been able to do pretty much everything I've loved to do up until this point in my life. I had a couple like crappy jobs here and there. Mm-hmm. Worked at a sandwich shop over the summer a couple times, worked on a farm, driving tractors and stuff like that, which I didn't mind that one too much. But, being able to basically pursue a passion throughout my entire life, I feel really blessed to have been able to do that. You know, I know a lot of buddies that have jobs that they've been there for 15, 20 years and they absolutely hate it. So, you know, looking back on it, I feel blessed, man. I have a beautiful family, I have a beautiful wife, you know, who's super supportive of this crazy career, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
And she's got my back. So no, I feel good about it. It's been a crazy ride for sure.
Man, I mean, I just know some of the, you know, without knowing you, without, you know, being friends until, you know, maybe the last few years, I've watched you for years. I've watched you compete out there and put on shows. And you did say something that kind of caught my attention. You said it's a little depressing in some way. How so?
I guess I went off on that, but you know, I think it's just a little bit depressing knowing how fast life goes. Like, you know, I've enjoyed so much of it, and it's like they say time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, and it is so true, man. I feel like the last 10 years especially has just flown by, and it's like I want to pump the brakes. I'm loving my life. I'm enjoying everything I'm doing. I want to continue doing this, but you know, you just got to live it to the fullest. But yeah, you think back on the last 15, 20 years, and it's crazy. It really does go so fast. Yeah,
yeah. So is it? Do you wish you would have like absorbed more of the moments, or enjoyed it more? Were you did your head down grinding, or?
Yeah, I mean, thinking back through, like especially high school, I have so many people in my life that were like, "Man, I miss those high school days," and it's like, I hated high school. Like all I did was get up. I would, you know, run before school, you know, ride my skateboard to school, go to school all day. Basically go straight to wrestling practice it would usually be like 3 hours in the afternoon into the evening, come home, eat, do my homework, go for another run, and then go to bed and do it all over again. Like that was my high school, you know? And I'm like, God, I do wish there was some times that I would have like stopped and enjoyed a little bit more of those, I guess, normal life moments. Right. But I also, looking back on that, I wouldn't be where I am right now if I didn't do that. You know, I have a lot of people that I went to high school with that are, you know, struggling in life. And, you know, they didn't grind back then. They were partying and drinking and doing drugs and doing all that type of stuff. So, yeah, it's kind of a little bit of both worlds. I feel like, you know, I do miss probably having those experiences, I'm guessing. But, again, I owe a lot of what I have now to not doing that. So, I don't know. Yeah,
I understand. Well, I'm curious. So what drove you back then?
Probably my pops, my dad. Yeah, my dad got me into wrestling when I was 5. He coached me all the way up till high school, and then I jumped into the high school program. But yeah, my dad was always, my dad owned his own business since he was like right out of high school, always very motivated, business driven, just, you know, very hard worker. And seeing somebody like that, you know, having someone like that as a role model, I think definitely played a big part, I think. But man, I remember as a kid growing up, there was a few times me and my brothers wanted to try different sports like baseball. And my dad was always like, baseball's for pussies. You're going to wrestle, you know? And, you know, I think I would have enjoyed playing a few other sports maybe, but yeah, wrestling was life in our family. So,
yeah, I mean, as a parent, you kind of look at your kids' skill sets and, you know, yeah, kids want to do all sorts of different things, but you're like, well, where are they going to be successful? Yeah. And I remember with my kids too, I had to make decisions like, Trude, I thought he was a good runner, so I pushed him with running. He ended up hating running. He's like, I'm never running again after high. So whatever. And then Tanner, I thought, well, he's good at basketball. That was a tough one because everybody plays basketball. Yeah. It's really hard. You know, he was good, but the whole world plays basketball. Yeah. So I understand with your dad, like saying he probably could tell, hey, no, you know, you're built for this.
I was 80 pounds my freshman year in high school. I was just tiny. Yeah. So little. So, I mean, when I was asking to play baseball, that was probably even like 4 or 5 years before that. So I think he knew. He saw that wrestling was something I was good at, and you know, I think he made the right choice there. But
set you up for success.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, I understand. I mean, it sounds like you were very dedicated. Did you have success in high school then?
Yeah, I was a 3-time state placer. Never won state, but placed 3 times out of my first year. I was actually so small. I was JV. I didn't even get to compete on varsity, but the 3 years I was varsity, I placed at state.
Okay.
So, and then I think I got third at senior nationals. So,
that's good.
Did pretty well, and then got recruited, wrestled at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and I was a 2-time All-American there. My senior year, undefeated the whole season. The only loss came in the finals.
No way.
Yeah, I was.
Who was that against?
Jay Jaggers from Ohio State, which ended up being one of my teammates in the Fight World's roommate at that time. Yeah, Lance Palmer. So, but yeah, man, kind of a crappy call from the ref. Those videos are on YouTube. Like I haven't watched them in years because going back to what we were talking about, those things you just want to like black them out. But yeah, man, it was a great year. Coming up second, looking back on it, almost maybe it was just God's way of pushing me into the next chapter of my life, because who knows, maybe I wouldn't have wanted to try MMA at that point if I would have just been undefeated, finished out the career national champ, and just been like, all right, I'm done with my athletic career. Let's go get a job. It lit a fire, man. I was like, God, I was so close, man.
Right.
I'm still hungry for victory. Like I need to like keep proving to myself like what I can do. So
what happened in that match?
Well, it was a very close match. I think it was the second round, last 15 seconds. I blast double legged him, sat him to his butt, hooked both legs with it should have been 2 takedown. The ref just sat there, no points, time ran out. And so that third round, I tried to really pick it up to win the match, and ended up getting caught in some of his funk. He was a funky wrestler, didn't really have a strong offense. Most of his scoring came from defense and being funky and capitalizing. So I think if I would have got that 2 points, I wouldn't have had to pick the pace up that third round.
Different
and
strategy.
I could have, stayed a little bit more solid and controlled.
Not take chances.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But yeah, the ref actually came up and apologized to my dad after for making a bad call. And dude, it was not good.
Man.
My dad was not too happy about that. But
he's as invested as you were in it.
Oh yeah.
Been with you since you were 5 and
yep.
That
was the moment,
Man.
But it's part of life,
Yeah.
Nothing's ever going to be handed to you, and sometimes it's cruel. So
sometimes it's not fair.
It's true.
Yeah. I didn't wrestle, but I've been a fight fan forever. But me and Rogan actually send wrestling videos back and forth because these guys are. There's this one move I was telling Joe about. We were back at the Jones fight last week, and the wrestler drops down and like his left leg goes straight out, and then this leg bends back, but he does it so fast, and he bends over, gets it's an offensive move, gets his opponent somehow, but he's dropping that leg down flat against the ground. My hamstring would snap, but it goes so quick, and he pops down, gets this guy. And then there's another one where Joe sent me where he had this kid in a pretzel.
Yeah.
So just twisted up. I was like, I couldn't even imagine how that would even feel, or how even being offensive and put somebody in that position. It's
some of those wrestling moves, it's come a long way, obviously, but there's some pretty gnarly stuff. That funky defense, man, there's some crazy like pretzel type moves that guys can get into, especially those long, lanky guys. There's and that's what Jay Jaggers was. He was a real long type of guy that liked to wrap you up and do all that funky stuff. So, yeah.
Joe is also talking about, do you remember I think it was a Russian wrestler that he said was like 300 pounds and ripped? And he showed me a picture of him. Do you remember this guy?
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on his name. I know who you're talking about, though. Yes.
He had a picture in his studio of this guy, and this guy's just so intense, but just shredded. And he said, he goes, if in the UFC, that was before the UFC started, but he said he would have been terrorizing.
I'm pretty sure that's the Russian that Rulan Baumgartner, I think, beat.
Okay.
In the Olympics, I'm pretty sure.
Think so?
I think that's the one. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, I remember this dude was just big, just burly, manly man. Yeah. Yeah,
and he showed me the picture of the guy, and it's just like that big and that strong. Couldn't imagine. Yeah. But it's you transition into the fight game then, and then you found your home there. As your career goes, so like in regard to that question, the top 3 MMA guys, who would you put the top 3? Just curious.
Oh man, That's a tough question, but obviously Jones. I mean, that guy's a freak of nature, man. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, body composition plays a huge part of that. His mental state, just the confidence that he always has. Definitely Jones is up there. I think Volkanovski's up there too. I mean, obviously he's kind of a newer fighter, but I mean, the guy's just beating everybody they put in front of him at featherweight. So
even Islam, I mean, there's people who say he beat him. I mean, I've never seen one thing like people talk about Islam was like a new Khabib. I never saw Khabib on his back getting. No, I mean, Volkanovski was kind of beating him up.
Yeah,
and when
he's
Islam
45er too.
Yeah, even Islam had hit Volk's back, and he wasn't even worried about it. That would never happen against Khabib.
No,
Khabib,
not at all.
If he's on your back, it's not good.
Yeah, and I think Khabib's up there for sure too. Yeah, I'd say.
What do you think? Has he fought the level of competition to be considered like one of the best ever? Because that's what some people might say.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not quite all the best top competition, but I mean, just. Do I have any doubt that he wouldn't have beat them? Absolutely not. Like, I think he would have probably still crushed. He's one of those types of fighters that were extremely strong, like had the will to go from bell to bell and never slow down or stop. And I mean, his top game, that ability to just get someone down and grind them is like probably one of the most vicious styles of fighting, in my opinion. Like, you could be the best striker in the world. Look what he did with Conor. Like, you get him to the ground, it's a different game, And so I think his ability to do that and dictate where that fight went, I mean, I think it would have been tough for anybody to beat him. So, yeah, I still think so.
He finished 29-0. I don't ever remember seeing him bleed.
I don't know if he ever did. I saw him take very few, like, big punches, but I don't know if anything ever hurt him.
I never remember seeing. Yeah. How do you fight 29 times?
That's pretty impressive.
Never bleed.
Yeah, that's pretty damn impressive.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's always fun to, as fans to talk about, but you've actually fought these guys and it's just, I mean, almost the who's who in your weight of 145, 155, and now you're going to fight at 165, but almost a who's who of the MMA world you've stood across the octagon from.
Yeah.
That must be incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's been a long career, but yeah, looking back on all that and it's something that in my mind is pretty cool to be able to share with my kids once they get old enough and like hopefully they're kind of into it and something that interests them a little bit. But even outside of that, they are for sure into the hunting world. So that makes me super happy. But I mean, it was a crazy career for sure. We're not done yet. We still got a big fight coming up, and another legend that I'm stepping in there with, Eddie Alvarez. So that's another one that is going to be a cool one to add to the resume.
What are you thinking about that fight? How are you feeling?
I feel great about it. I mean, they mentioned it. I honestly was pretty much done. I mean, I did that last one. I felt great. Went in there and got the fight. Finished in the fourth with a TKO and, was good. And then they came back like, hey, let's renegotiate. And we got a big name that we're throwing around, Eddie Alvarez. And I'm like, send me the damn contract. Like, that's a fight.
You like that matchup? I
like it a lot. And it's a fighter that I've watched for a long time. I enjoy his style. I feel like I match up great with him. For me, whether this is going to be a retirement fight or not, if it is, man, that's the one. That's a cool one to go out on for sure. It's a cool one to get a win against, to get that name under the belt and just get in there and share the ring with them. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, another former UFC champion. You fought a lot of them. It would be. I mean, I like matchup for you. You, like I said, you seem like mentally, physically as like top of your game. I think it's going to be a great fight for you. I'm so pumped for it.
Yeah, we've been going hard, man. I'm doing all the right things in the gym with my boxing coach and my strength and conditioning coach. Diet's been on point for the last 2 years now, doing the meat-based, and man, this is probably the best I've ever felt. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to get in there and at least do it one more time. Might be more, but at least get in there and share
and a good payday.
Yes.
I know that's the pay with the UFC is always seems like it's always coming up, or like it's because the UFC is such a giant organization, and I do feel for. I mean, I get it; it's a business.
Yeah.
You know, there is a huge sacrifice to those fighters. Maybe lower on the card. You know, it's if you're not winning, then you're getting half that purse, and sometimes the purse isn't a ton, and you're paying coaches and you're paying for gym time, and it's like. You got to really want to do it.
Yeah.
It's not, nobody's doing it to get rich,
No.
you know, starting off. It's just that competition. But so anyway, that's just the way business works. But I'm super pumped. You got a big payday coming for this one. And seem like you're very dedicated and prepared. I think it's going to be good. It's like you've earned it too.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. I'd say it feels good to finally be at this point in my career making this type of money. I honestly didn't know if it was going to happen in my timeline of being able to fight. But, you know, obviously I would have liked maybe halfway through my career to start getting this pay and continue to go. But hey, that's part of it. It's just
maybe you are halfway.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm going to be 38 this year. But I don't know.
Don't tell your wife.
I know she's not going to like that if we do more. But
you get in there. No damage, big payday. It's going to be a little easier to sell the next one.
100%. That's the plan anyways. We'll see.
What's been your most rewarding win so far?
Oh, man. I'd say probably my favorite fight was the Ricardo Lamas fight. Coming in there and knocking him out in the first. And I think I had more friends and family at that fight.
Where was it?
Oh, man, that was in Virginia, I think. We had just had a big group of friends out there, family members. And that was a good one. I'd say it might be a toss-up between that one and Miles Jury. That was a really good one too. Coming back, had tons of friends and family.
He was tough for a while there.
Yeah. Went in there and got the knockout quick, which is always nice, man. You go through these like grueling, long training camps, and you know, obviously you're always hoping for something like that to happen. You put in the work, the effort, and you obviously plan for that to happen, but it doesn't always happen that way. So when you go out there and you can get a knockout in 30 seconds or a minute or whatever into the first, you're like, no damage taken, it's in and out, you feel great. You know, you have a ton of fans and friends and family members there to just kind of be a part of that whole experience. God, it means so much. It's so cool. That right there is what keeps fighters going, you know. That's exactly what it is. But I'd say probably those two. If I had to lean on one more, maybe even actually the Miles Jury, now that I think about it.
Think that one's a little even better?
I think so. I think maybe, I'd say that one.
What's the one that keeps you up at night?
Of course, the Conor fight.
Really?
Yeah, man, it was a brutal, you know, getting that call on 10 days notice. You know, cutting 25 pounds in a short amount of time and just, you know, not being as prepared as I could have been to fight a guy like that. Like I know I could have beat that guy if I was prepared, but
because you were coming off a war with Aldo.
Yeah, my body was beat up. You know, I was telling you, I was peeing blood that night when I got back to the hotel after the Aldo fight. And just the most pain from head to toe that my body's ever been in. Like that's really the only war I've ever experienced in my career, and it was brutal, man. So yeah, I mean, wasn't really training a whole lot for, you know, a few months after that, just letting my body heal, trying to do things here and there as I could. But you know, and then basically getting a call in last second doesn't help anything.
And you can't turn it down.
No.
I mean, how do you turn down that fight?
It's a title fight. You know, at that point was the biggest payday that I had ever had in my career. And it's like, God, all right, let's do this. Like, who knows? Maybe I go out there and catch him in 30 seconds with the right hand and put him to sleep, you know?
You got the power.
Yeah, so...
Well, even like in that first round, I mean, you were taking him down.
Yeah.
And you were delivering damage because your top game is great. So, and to me, so fresh, that's you fresh.
Yes.
But, you know, if you haven't been in camp, you can't stay at your best for, you know, too long.
Yeah.
And then you get fatigued because that's how this body works.
Yeah.
And he had been in a full camp preparing for Aldo already.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, that was a tough one. I think if there's any fight that haunts me, I'd say that one and the Frankie Edgar fight are probably the two toughest for me to swallow.
Why the Frankie Edgar?
Because it was just one of those fights I got caught, quick into the fight. Like we were talking about, it's like you put all this effort and energy and time and dedication and love and passion into this fight camp, game planning, and you pour your heart and soul into it. And then you go out there and something like that where first round you get clipped with something and you just basically go out for a second, come to, and the fight's over. And you're like, God, man.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck happened,
I don't think, as a fan, it's just like fans are just on to the next, next fight, what is it? And they're not thinking about what, as a fighter, what that must feel like after that years of work to get there and then have something crazy happen. It's just such a brutal game.
It is, man. That's one of the lowest lows of the sport right there. And it's, if I went out there like I did against Aldo and I fought my heart, like that was the best me, and Aldo just won,
Yeah.
It hurts physically more, like a war like that, but mentally it doesn't hurt as bad. Like I know that I gave everything I had. I trained as hard as I could, and that was just me going out there.
Best.
And he was just a better man that night. But you do that same thing and go out there and just get clipped by something because you made one stupid mistake or they just got lucky or whatever it may be, and you just wake up and you're like, God, like all that, I did all that for nothing. And not only that, now I only get half of the pay that I was hoping to get, So it's a brutal game in that sense for sure. But
what do you think about that win bonus? Do you think they should just give a flat amount?
100%, man.
Because it's not like you're trying any less.
Yeah, 100%. It should be across the board. And that's what's great about bare knuckle. It's a flat fee. Like no matter what, we're making this money. Obviously I'm going to try my hardest. Exactly like you said. Like I'm not going to, I'm getting this payday either way. I'm just going to half-ass it and go out there and get knocked out. Like I don't ever want to get knocked out. I don't want to lose. Like I am like extremely competitive. I want to be the best in the world. Like you're just basically rubbing salt in the wound at this point. Like not only did you just lose, but we're going to take half of your money from you. It's like,
I've had a hard time with that. Cause I know, some of those, like I said, those on the lower on the card, which I get it, but if you're getting 18 and 18, like 18,000 and getting knocked out, it's like, God, that's rough.
My first UFC title fight, I fought Aldo in Brazil. I ended up coming home with $8,000, like after losing that fight, after everything, like, cause you're fighting Brazil. I think they taxed me like 35 or 40% was something crazy from Brazil. You only get half of it. And then, after all the extra flights and everything, it was like $8,000.
Wow.
Thank God they ended up giving me a little bit of a bonus, but I mean, it still wasn't a ton, but it at least made it feel a little bit better. But God, man, that's one of those ones where it's like, what the hell am I doing?
I bet.
Just got KO'd by Aldo for a UFC title fight for $8,000. It's like, make you question everything for sure.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, I guess that was all part of building this road to get this big payday with bare knuckle. You know what I mean? I mean, you built a name, so you are, you add to this organization and you're being rewarded for it. So it's, and that's where it gets tough to like, is this the last one? Because you've made all these sacrifices for 8,000 and now they're offering, your biggest ever. It's like, whew.
I know.
Tough.
It is. And that's kind of where we're at. Like, I don't necessarily need this money. I have other businesses that are doing well. Like, this is more of it's kind of a passion thing because of the opponent. Like, it's exciting to me. It's motivating because it's Eddie. But then also they throw this big number and it's like, man, I've never seen that payday through all the BS that I've gone through for the last 10, 12 years. Yeah. So you're right. It definitely is a big motivating factor, but is it something I absolutely need? No. And so I think that was kind of the hardest thing with me and my wife sitting down and having to like figure this out. Like, is this something I'm really going to do? I got 2 daughters now. I got to be smart. I got to be careful. He's got a family. He's got young kids. Like, so yeah, I mean, I think all of us are always playing with fire, but you can't look at it like that. I mean, we're all playing with fire every time we get in a damn car, every time we get on an airplane, every time we, whatever, Could happen to us at any time. But yeah, man, just, I I'm going to get out there and give her hell. I know what I can do in the gym. I know what all the preparation looks like. I know what it takes to get out there and be successful. That's what I can control. I'm going to get in there and just what happens is what happens.
What's his, is he have a big right? What is his thing?
He's kind of more of an output guy. Yeah, he's got a right.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll kind of lead in with a left hook. He's a very I'd say more of a standard boxing style. Yeah. So
You just got to keep your hands up and
hands up.
Yeah.
Hands up. I got to stay compact, quick, powerful, get in there and do what I do.
Yeah.
I know if I land one big one, it's going to be a game changer. It just takes doing it. So
I know we were talking too. We've done this lift, run, shoot here the last couple of days. It's been great too. It's been, I mean, you're in such great shape and a good, that was one of the questions somebody asked. Who's a better shot, Chad or Cam?
Oh, geez.
You, I wouldn't want to, what does it say? It says, is he a better shot than Cam? Well, I'll just say Ethan Dixon. Chad was shooting as well as I've seen anybody shoot at the bow rack. Wayne, the herd bull, had his bow dialed in and was coaching Chad, and he was like laying him in there. Then we got out to the...
He smoked me.
No. To the balloon shoot, and he set the record. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to shoot head-to-head against Chad.
Oh, no. We did one arrow, and we got to show that in there, but we had one shot. I went right above the balloon, and Cam smoked it with one. So
I got lucky in that one. Did preparing to fight and calming your brain help you execute a shot while hunting? So does that your mentality transfer over, do you think?
Yeah, I think so, 100%. I think there's a lot of similarities, a lot of things that translate from both fighting and training to hunting, and then also hunting to fighting. You know, when you're getting in that, like the red zone, you know, when you're inside 40, 50 yards on an animal and you're getting closer and closer, and every little thing matters, every movement, you know, obviously any sound, that heart's racing out of your chest and you're getting ready to take that shot. Like being able to not only focus on everything that you're doing, but calming yourself and being able to stay as clear-headed as you possibly can and executing that shot. I mean, through my bow hunting career, I'm sure you probably have too, but I have messed up in that zone probably thousands of times throughout my life. And it's like, you know, you have learning how to basically execute. It's like you do everything perfect, you get in that zone, you shoot and miss. And it's like, God, I did everything right, but except for the execution. So being able to do that in a fight where you have your opponent next to you or in front of you, you just went through an entire training camp, you've studied the game plan, you've put that together, you know what you're supposed to do, and now you're in that red zone, that person standing in front of you. Can you stay calm and collected enough to execute what you've just basically developed in the gym?
Right.
It's the same thing as when you're sneaking in on a big bull, you know, when you're 30 yards from them and they don't know you're there. And I got to sink the shot in, you know?
Yeah.
So I think the two translate well, and like being able to basically calm your nerves, you know, stay collected, execute on both sides. They bounce off each other for sure.
You talking about that reminds me of, you say, so today we're recording this today, Kamaru's fighting Leon Edwards. And today, it reminded me, you saying that, of Kamaru last fight, stalked in. He was maybe 10 yards away. Leon is the bull. He doesn't even know Kamaru's there. All he has to do is just make this shot. Kamaru was right there for a slam dunk red zone. He had done everything right and lost focus for a second, took a shin to the side of the head.
Yep.
No, not a champion anymore.
No.
Everything over. So it's just like shitting the bed on having that. You did everything right to get into that 20 yards on a big bull, and then you screw it up.
Yep.
Yeah, so I get that made sense about, you know, finishing it off too.
Yep.
You can do it all right. You can be prepared. You still have to implement the game plan.
Yep, exactly. And so I think those two bounce off each other, and one helps me on both sides, I think. And I didn't really notice that until probably, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago now. And once I think I figured that out, it helped me so much more. I think on the hunting side of it, when you do get in that red zone, and just trying to keep everything calm and collected. Because a lot of the times I'll get there and it's just like blackout, everything gone. And that's how I used to be in my fight career. Like I'd step in there and almost would black out. It would just be like just reaction.
Right.
And then you get out and I don't remember a lot of the stuff. Like my first probably 8 fights, 8 to 10 fights were like that. And that's how I would be getting in that red zone on animals. Like I'd get so worked up that I would almost like black out and not think about what I'm doing and would screw it up. And so I think once I figured that out and I basically told myself when you're there, like how to calm down and stay collected, it helped a ton.
I think, I think I was like that too. You'd have so much adrenaline where you'd shoot. Before I had multiple pins on my sight. Now I have an adjustable, but I wouldn't even know what pin I used. Did I use the right pin? Did I pick a spot? Where was the animal even standing? Where did my arrow go? Because it was all gone. Yeah. And I, like you said, that blackout. And I do see fighters. You see fighters who stay composed and collected all the time. Some of them get in there and it's like, seems like more no strategy, just kind of a brawl.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm always, you can tell the ones who stick to the game plan. And it's like, it must be hard though, because so much adrenaline.
It is.
And you're making decisions on a
You know who I think is extremely good at that, and the reason why he's the champ and has just been as good as he has been is John Jones. I feel like he's a thinker in there, but stays pretty calm and collected. But, you can tell that he isn't one of those guys that just wants to get in there and brawl and just blacks out and goes. Like he's thinking, being very tactical the whole time. And look at his success. So
I've never seen him in like just letting loose crazy. Like I remember, Max Holloway used to stand like point at the thing. I can't remember who he was fighting, but Lamas, yeah. And just wanted to just go for it. I've never seen John do something like that.
No.
So that reminds me is like he is always tactical.
Yep.
And then to me, it seems like he's a little more mean than most people. Yeah. I mean, some of his shots, you're just like, it looks like there's just a little extra, I don't know.
He was, God blessed him with the long, bony body, the long, strong, bony body. Cause he knows how to use his elbows, his knees, his kicks, jabs, punches, keeping everybody at bay. But then what's great about John is if there is a fighter that somehow beats that range, which is very rare, he just wrestles him. Like he's a damn good wrestler.
Right.
So how are you going to beat John? The only way to beat John is if for whatever reason you get lucky and KO this dude. That's, in my opinion, the only way anyone beats John.
And it's never happened.
Yeah, because he's good at either closing the distance and taking you down or keeping you at bay. Yeah.
The one where I saw he was like, I felt bad. I think it was when he won the belt against Shogun. It was like Shogun was against the cage and just getting, that oblique kick to the knee,
tearing him apart.
Just like nonstop, different strikes everywhere. And I was just like, oh my God, I feel terrible for this guy.
Yeah.
It looked brutal.
Yeah, that's not fun.
No, I mean, because you could tell he's beat up, tired, and John's just
picking
so
him apart.
varied, elbows coming in. And it's like, God.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you mention that, I've never seen him in a war like that. And that's the one thing. So it reminds me another thing. So Chandler is fighting. Talk about war. Chandler's been in wars now. He's fighting Conor. So how do you see that fight going?
Man, I'm really hoping that Mike can use a lot of his wrestling. Mike's got great wrestling. He likes to stand and bang and get in there, and he likes to get in those wars. So, man, I know the calf kicks have been, have worked really well against Conor lately. Not lately, but his last couple fights. Yep, slowing him down a bit. I think Mike, if he implements that, that's going to be huge. Implements his wrestling, that's going to be huge. I think in and out movement, not sitting there in front of Conor and letting him pick him apart with strikes, I think he beats Conor. I'm curious to see what type of Conor we have. He's been out for a long time. He's put on a bunch of weight. I don't think he's been training like he should be training. He might be doing stuff here and there, but what is his cardio going to be like?
Right.
Because Mike goes. Mike's got great cardio. Mike will push. He'll be bleeding and taking punches, but still coming forward going. So that could be bad for Conor.
Yeah, no, I know it. And you can say, you know, once you've made it, it's way different than on your way up. Like when Conor was, like when you fought Conor, it was like he was hungry, still going up, wanted to be the double champ and all this. He had big goals. Now it's like, what's his goals?
I don't know.
You know, he's done it all. Yeah. It's really hard to capture that magic again. But that's why we watch.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to see what version can come out. But yeah, I mean, if he's not 100% into it, it could be a tough one for him because Chandler, he loves
beast,
he loves those dirty, nasty, like bloody fights. It seems like. So you know that the calf kick, I saw it. You know, Chandler was champion in Bellator. And there's this guy Brett Primus. That was the first time I had seen somebody doing calf kicks, and it was on Chandler. And I thought everybody thought he broke his ankle because his foot wasn't working.
Yeah,
and it was just weird. And I'd never seen it before, but that's how he lost. And now, you know, he keeps his leg out there too.
Yeah,
so it's kind of susceptible to it. But Conor and him both have that. I guess that lead leg out
wide
there.
Stance,
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I don't know.
I'm excited to watch the Ultimate Fighter with them two coaching. You know, I've heard that they've been kind of getting into it, or they got into it, and some crazy stuff happened. So I'm just excited. That's going to be entertaining for sure.
You know, we were talking earlier about your diet. You know, here we had, you know, we did lift, run, shoot, but then we had meat and fruit. So it's like, I've never seen you so jacked. And that's just like this disciplined diet. It seems like you've really found your groove on that. And that's just been recently?
Yeah, I'd say about almost 2 years now. So I had plaque psoriasis all over my body, like really bad from as long as I can remember when I was a little kid. And it just, as I grew older, kind of spread throughout my body, got worse and worse. And man, I went to 2 different dermatologists, and both of them straight up told me like diet has zero effect on this. But both of them wanted to prescribe me a bunch of steroid creams, and you know, we could give you a shot. It's monthly. It's really hard on your liver, but it should help, and it's very expensive.
Yeah, of
course.
course.
It's like, no thanks, you know. So I always just kind of dealt with it. Tried different things here and there, but just nothing really took it away. And just, man, there towards the end just started getting really bad. So I saw Rogan. He had vitiligo, I think is what it's called. That's an autoimmune disease. He tried it. He said it helped. I have a buddy whose wife had Crohn's disease. She tried it, basically took it away completely. And my buddy was doing it, and he's like, you should try it and just see if it helps out. And I always kind of shied away from it just because of my athletic career. I was like, man, I got to eat grains. I got to eat,
fuel.
Oats. Yeah. You know, and that's just what I thought. And so I never did it, and just continued to get worse and worse and worse. But finally, about 2 years ago, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll do it for a month. If it doesn't change, I'm just going to go back to eating my normal diet. But if it makes a difference, then, you know, I'll stick with it. Within like 2 weeks, it was so much better, like night and day different. Still
like
there,
the carnivore diet, basically.
Kind of. At first, for the first 4 months, I went like hardcore, just meat, eggs, dairy, and seafood. That was it. No carbs at all, no sugars, no nothing. And that was tough. That was like a full elimination diet. Basically just to reset my gut and everything.
Did you get lean too without those carbs? I bet.
Leaned out.
Yeah.
Put on more muscle, but lean fat out, it seemed like. But I was eating a ton of eggs, ton of red meat, you know, wild game, beef, and did that for about 4 months, and then started adding back in the fruits, you know, honey, some dairy, tried to do more raw than anything, but even still do some regular dairy. And that's pretty much it. Cut out all seed oils, processed sugar, and most vegetables, like leafy green type stuff. And man, it's gone now. Like my legs are completely cleared up. So I think for me, it's like, at this point, I'm almost too nervous to go back to eating normal because I don't want it to all come back. So I've just been continuing to do it, and I feel great.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I've leaned out. I've put on more muscle, which, you know, that's honestly never been like a huge goal of mine. I like being, a fit, a fit human being that's more productive in the gym or in the mountain.
Athletic.
Yeah, more athletic.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like that bodybuilder type that I can't do anything, but it definitely did put some muscle on. But I still feel really good. Like I feel explosive. I feel powerful. So I think I'm just going to continue doing it. It's almost been 2 years. Through my training camp, I've just upped the fruit intake because
for those
I'm
carbs.
more of an explosive athlete. Yeah, I need the glycogen restore, but man, I feel good doing it.
Have you tried that First Light Farms, their elk? Have you ever tried that?
Yeah, I just got some of it. Is that some of the stuff that Kip sent it to me.
Oh, really? Man, that stuff, obviously I have my own elk, but that's like, because it's not wild elk, it's freaking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like beef. It's not like beef. It's leaner than beef, but it tastes so good.
Yeah, I just got it the other day, and I'm gonna try it here soon. But
it's great.
The packaging looks nice.
Yeah, it's
nice.
It's really good. I mean, I've got some of those tenderloins, and I've eaten quite a bit of them.
Yeah,
great meat. But I was curious if you tried that because you're so protein rich in your carnivore diet type thing. But yeah, wild game. So that leads us into hunting. So what's your thoughts on hunting?
I love it, man. It's
all we've been talking about.
Yeah. All my teammates used to like tease and say, like, dude, the only reason why you fight is to fund all your hunting. And I'm like, you're not completely lying. But yeah, man, it's always been a huge passion of mine. My dad got me into it when I was a little kid. I used to follow him through the woods, the Sierras up above Fresno, and hunting, black-tailed deer and muleys up there, and just kind of follow him around. And then killed my first deer ever when I was, I think, 12. It was that first year I got my hunting license, I believe. Yeah. And I arrowed it. I had an old PSE, just an old Nova. And
first kill is a bow kill.
Yeah, first one ever. Yeah.
The Nova. Yeah, I remember those bows.
Yeah, I used to mow lawns. Bow. Yep, mow lawns, and I ended up buying it. It was a used one back then. Yeah. And I had that bow for a while, and then I had my first kill. Got a little fork spike with my bow, and it was just,
we call those sporks.
Sporks, yeah. Got the sporks, man. That was kind of a crazy story. We that night I arrowed that, and it ended up going down into like a hellhole and died down there. And so me, my dad, and my two brothers went down there, found it, and my dad's like, all right, I'm gonna hike all the way back up, and I'm gonna try to get to the truck. And this was before Onyx or, I don't even know if we had cell phones back then. If it was like I don't even think there are cell phones. Really. So he's like, I'll just drive around and try to find you guys. Well, man, that was a bad idea. He hikes up, gets lost. He's hiking around in the woods. It gets dark. It's me and my brothers. I'm 12. My other brother's 10. We're all pretty much young kids, you know? And we're just dragging this deer through the woods in the dark, have no idea where we are. Yeah. And a few hours goes by, and we finally see some lights up ahead, and we drag it over there, and ended up coming into a campsite and scared the shit out of these people. It was a husband and wife. Yeah. And we got face paint on. We're all in camo, and we're dragging a dead deer, and the lady screams like, ah. We're like, sorry. Like, we're lost. My dad's lost. Is there any chance you might be able to give us a ride? And the guy helps us load the deer up and takes us all the way back to camp. My dad I'm pretty sure he stayed the night out there that night in the woods.
Looking for you guys, or lost?
Just lost. Yeah. And I think when it got light the next morning, he was able to kind of locate where he was and got back to the truck, thank God. But he said, he's like, man, at one point I was just sitting there and I heard something, and I look over, and this monster buck, it was a full moon, and this buck, he could just see it in the moonlight, and it's just staring at him. He said, just huge. Yeah. And he's just looking like, what the hell? Yeah. But
sounds like good deer country.
Yeah. Well, there's some good ones up there for sure. But so that was my first experience arrowing a deer.
Wow. Fresno brings back memories of, so our puppy in there is Theo. He's from Fresno. He's in a kill shelter down there. So he's still traumatized from Fresno. So when we make fun of, like when he acts scared about barking at everybody and hair stands up, he's like, oh, those are Fresno flashbacks. So Fresno, don't mention that you used to hunt there. He'll get all upset.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. But so then from there, so 12 years old, bow hunter, and then you've just been doing this whole time. And I know you've killed some incredible animals. That sheep you killed, that was a rifle kill, wasn't it?
Yep.
But just you won that tag at the
Utah show.
Yeah, the Western Hunt Expo. Incredible. I mean, the photos are just insane.
Yeah, thank you.
Who took those photos?
That was who was on that trip? We had a few different camera guys.
Okay. I just remember epic photos.
Yeah, Paul Bride, I think, was the one that actually made it up there with us. So one of the other camera guys got too scared.
Because it was steep?
It was treacherous getting up to where it died. And he's like, oh, I don't feel good about this. I'm going to go back. And we're like, seriously, bro? Like,
yeah.
So we left him down there, and then Paul.
Do you want to say his name? No.
And I honestly don't even remember. That was, I can't even remember that kid's name. But Paul like led us up there. He's done stuff in like Patagonia and done all kinds of crazy hiking. And he used to hunt with Jason Hairston all over the place. So he knew what he was doing, thank God. But those photos were cool. And it died right on that little tiny ledge. It was like 100-foot drop. Like that thing almost went off. It was crazy up there.
That's an awesome round.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It was a fun experience having all my friends there, and that was cool.
Where was that?
That was down in Zion, the Zion unit, southern Utah.
Man, and it's a desert?
Desert, yep.
And so you've killed a doll in a desert?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doll was fun.
Yeah. That was the one where you had to go back. Yeah.
But I'm hooked, man. I want to go do another one.
Another doll, or do you have a goal of getting your Super Slam done?
Man,
or your Grand Slam, I guess.
Yeah.
Super Slam's all 29.
Yeah. Grand
Slam is sheep.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, and I don't have like if it were to happen, it would be cool. But I'm not like 100% set on I have to get this done.
Yeah, all right.
Like if I were to draw one of those stone sheep or something, that would be cool. But there's no way I'm buying a stone sheep.
They're expensive.
Just to get it done,
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, sheep is. I'm mostly like elk. If I could just elk hunt every year, I'm good.
Same.
But a crazy sheep hunt comes up, I just like to bow hunt. Of course, I'll go do it. But I'm not like obsessed with like I got to get all sheep species.
Yeah,
now, if you just say, "Hey, I got the best elk hunting in the world. Do you want to go?"
Done.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why I love the San Carlos.
Man.
And so tell me about, you killed a giant bull down there last year.
I did, man.
I think we were there around the same time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. You and Kip, right, were there? Yeah. Yeah, man, that was definitely a hunt I'll never forget. It happened quick. It was the first day. But man, it was, we got into a group of bulls that first morning. There was probably 8 to 10 bulls bugling all around us. And we basically just kind of trailed them up until they bedded and put them to bed and backed out. Came back in there at like 3 and just started hiking up in there. And they fired up probably about 5. And we snuck back into that group. And they're, out in front of us. And we just got set up on the first, basically the closest one to us. We had no idea what it was. And I had already told these guys, like 3:30 bull walks out. If he presents it, he's getting it. Like, I'm not super picky with that. And, I put my buddy back about 50 yards behind me, and he's calling. And I got Dustin over to my left, just kind of videoing and just watching. And, 30 minutes goes by, and he's screaming in front of us. We just can't see him. Finally, he walks in. I just see feet kind of walking through the brush. And I could see he's trying to get downwind of us. So I peeked to my left. I had a tiny little window right here. And I'm like, yeah, dang it. Why wouldn't you just walk out front here? You know? So I on my knees, I turned to the side, and I'm ranging, and I can see a clearing through the trees. And I ranged at 60 yards, just guessing, he's probably going to walk out somewhere through that little clearing. And sure enough, he steps out on the edge of it, but never comes out. And I can just see his nose, and he was a big funky looking bull. So he's got pretty short fronts on one side, and that's all I could see, because the other ones turn up and go way to the sky. Like,
yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, it's like a 330 bull, I'm guessing, you know, if he steps out, he's getting it.
Yeah.
So I see where he's at, arrange his nose tip, like 60 yards. And I'm like, I got to just time this right. Cause if he takes one step, that's going to put his vitals into this tiny little opening through the brush. That's all I got. And he's sitting there, and I could feel the wind just kind of at my back and then kind of hitting me on this side. I'm like, God, he's not going to sit here for long. And all of a sudden lets out a huge bugle, and I'm like, all right, he's like at least comfortable, you know. Takes a step, and I immediately draw back, and that movement stopped him perfect right in that window and just snuck it through there. So I still don't know what he is. All I can see is his vitals. See my arrow hit, he runs off, and I'm like pumped, like got him. I know that was a good hit. And so we sit there for like 30 minutes, walk over, my arrow's laying there, follow the blood. He's laying, we just see like body, you know, maybe 40, 50 yards out. And none of us had any idea that was the bull that I killed. So we walked up to it.
How'd that feel, seeing the body there? Just big relief?
Yeah.
That's always like the biggest, as a bow hunter, you can think you made a perfect shot, but until you see that animal laying there, you're holding 100%. It, you don't know.
Yeah. I've hit bulls or even deer where it's like smoked them and never find them. And you're like, what? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So watch it on film, you're just like, dude, that's perfect. Like,
right.
So yeah, exactly. It's a big relief.
And then it's like, okay, now what is he? And then you walked up, and what did you find?
That beast. I mean, Dustin had named that thing Ric Flair because he had two big kickers off each side. And he instantly was like, dude, that's Ric Flair. That's him.
Oh, man.
And yeah, it would have been over 440, not busted. He had a second main beam that came up and split at the top, and a big whale tail with kickers off the backside that he'd busted off.
Unbelievable.
So yeah, but crazy.
Wow.
Just crazy bull.
440.
440 would have been, yeah.
Man, that's once in a lifetime for sure.
Yeah, super cool bull. Just as weird as they come, you know, like super short beams, but insane mass, just extra stuff all over the place. Yeah, just crazy. But yeah,
how confident were you? So 60 yards is not a chip shot.
No.
I mean, you had to have a lot of confidence to take that shot on that hunt, which is for most people once in a lifetime to hunt there. So what was your mindset going into that? You knew you could do it?
Yeah, man. I told you this, like, I don't know what it was. Something last year, I have a range set up in my backyard, and for some reason all year I was like, I just need to practice at 60. Like, I feel like that's a good range, that anything inside that I'm good. Like, and if I'm just comfortable at 60, like, I should be money, you know? And so all year, like, I'd walk out first cold shot 60 and just send it. That's what I practice. I have no idea why, but both bulls I killed last year walked out at 60 yards and pinwheeled them both. So I'm just going to keep doing that.
Yeah. Well, that's not a chip shot. You got to but you're a good shot. I mean, I've seen you shoot the last couple of days, and it's like, I have no doubt, but for most people, shooting through a small window at 60 yards maybe it's good you didn't know that was Ric Flair, because then you didn't have to worry about that, you know, being a giant bull too. But it still doesn't change. It's still a hard shot and pressure. And, impressive. But what a relief.
Very relieved, yeah.
As bow hunters, all we care about is, like, we're making a good shot on that animal. It's not suffering. It's you know, we do our job, merciful kill. And so, that probably was a huge relief in that. But then being a once-in-a-lifetime bull, man, that thing was a beast. Definitely
an experience I'll never forget.
And then what was the other bull you got?
That was Oregon. That was Northeast Oregon on one of our Finz and Featherz trips up at Opal Butte Outfitters. Just a weird, gnarly old bull. It almost looked like a big axis deer. Yeah, he had, like, you know, his two fronts and then nothing all the way up. And then it had that big, like, Y fork at the tops, like a axis deer has on both sides. It was weird, super weird bull. But
was he old?
Yeah, he was an older bull, came screaming in. I'd been wanting to kill a bull out of a tree stand for the last, like, 4 or 5 years and just have never gotten it done. And we got into the tree stand, me and my buddy Dave, late that morning, he was like dragging ass, you know, and I'm like, come on, Dave, let's go. It's like, it's going to be light in like 30 minutes. We still got, so we ended up showing up like 30 minutes after light, crawled up in there. But when we were sneaking in, there was a bull bugling off to our left and a bull bugling off to our right. So I was like, dude, let's get in this. Hurry. So we get up in the stand and he starts calling, and that bull just screaming comes running down the hill right into us.
Really?
Yeah, it was
How
pretty
far
cool.
shot? That was 60?
That was the 60, yeah.
Jeez.
He came out, stopped broadside at 60.
And 60 yards out of a tree stand is even harder.
I know.
Because like when I hunt out of tree stands, you're thinking 20 yards would be good.
Yeah.
60 looks like a mile.
Yeah. But no, it I don't know, it just felt good. Pulled back, anchored, sent it, pinwheeled him, ran off. And he probably only went 40, 50 yards over this little edge and died right there. But there wasn't a ton of blood. So we went down there and I was actually like, shit, did I hit shoulder? You know, and I got a short draw length. I usually get on a bull, 12 to 15 inches of penetration. And that's what arrow was laying there, about 12, 15 inch penetration. I'm like, damn, did I hit shoulder? And it stopped it. It didn't sound like it. We watched the video over and it all looked good. But we just sat there for probably 2 hours, like
just making sure had time.
And it was kind of cool. A couple ravens landed in the tree right above him and started going off.
So you figured.
And I'm like, what the heck? So I ended up walking over and there he was dead right below those ravens. So it was kind of cool.
They're pretty quick on. They follow death around. Yeah, that's a good observation to pick that up. I've seen a lot of people out in the woods and they don't even notice stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there's a lot of telltale signs out there if you pay attention.
Magpies too. They find them pretty quick too.
A lot of those over there in that part of the country. Well, you're on a roll. 2 bulls in the same. Is that the first time you've killed 2 bulls in a season?
No.
Oh.
I think the first time 2 archery bulls. I've killed like an archery bull and then maybe a rifle bull or 2. But yeah, that was the first 2, probably 2 archeries.
Excuse me. Yeah, awesome. What hunts do you got this year that you're looking forward to?
I'll hopefully do that Oregon. They changed it last year to a draw. So
yeah, you got to draw that one.
So hopefully I draw that, and then we'll be going to New Mexico this year, which I'm pretty excited about.
And your Finz and Featherz, tell me about that. That's your business, and what do you do with that?
So basically what we do is we subcontract out outfitters that already have things up and running, businesses where they, whether it's elk, deer, whatever it is. And we basically put together a year-long schedule, and we post that up on our site. So each trip is basically set in stone already, the dates, the species. And basically what we do is we add different UFC fighters or actors or pro ball players, different athletes on the trips with the clientele. So say we got a mule deer where there's 5 or 6 clients that are booking with us in this group, and then we'll put like Dan Henderson and he'll go in there and hunt with them. So we'll get him a tag too. So he's in there sharing camp. And, I think what the mindset of creating this, the reason why we did it was doing something different, something that where, this in hunting camp, the camaraderie and like the way that you bond with somebody over a campfire after a long day of hunting, like telling stories. It's like, you're never going to get that at a meet and greet where you shake a hand, take a picture, and then on to the next one, So it's just a different way for these people who might watch these guys or girls on TV in a sport or whatever it may be. Now they get to not only go on a cool hunt, because we try to do stuff that's already going to be something people would want to do anyways, badass mule deer, elk, or antelope or whatever it is. But now they get to do it in camp with a guy like Uriah Faber or Dan Henderson or whoever, And all these guys love hunting as well. And girls, we got some Macy Barber,
I like
Jessie
Macy.
Jess, like she's getting into it. I got her a bow, and so yeah, it's it's just something that's different from the standard hunting outfit. Like you could go book a mule deer hunt anywhere, or an elk hunt or whatever. But now you get to do it and kind of throw a special twist on it and get to do it in camp with a guy like Henderson or TJ Dillashaw or Mike Chandler or whatever, and just kind of get to know these people on a personal basis. So I don't know, man, we launched it 2015. So 16 was our first full year. I had no idea how it was going to, how people were going to take that, and we booked out everything we offered that year. I was like, dude, that's pretty cool.
Wow.
And each year just kind of growing it, adding more trips and just continue to, we'll sell out usually each year, book everything in advance, go out and do it. This is cool for me too, because I just get to travel all over and hunt with cool people who absolutely love hunting and fishing, which is like my people, you know? So I don't know. I feel blessed to be able to go do this, and almost feel like I'm cheating the system sometimes, taking their money, you know? I'm like, God, I should be paying you to come hunt and hang out with you guys. But no, it's been super cool. I enjoy it. I love it. My business partner, Mike, loves it. He was with UPS for like 20 something years and just retired. So now he's doing this full time.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's been a fun journey.
Yeah, I know. I've followed along. I've seen a lot of the photos, and I mean, everybody looks like they're having a great time. Yeah. The trips you set up, people are successful. And so it's like, you're kind of, that's a big challenge for people who want to maybe do a guided outfitted hunt. Is this a good place? You know, but you're kind of vetting that part. Yep. So they know they're already going to go to a good place, and then it's going to be with legends on top of it. So it's like, how do you lose there?
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds like a great setup.
Yeah, it's been fun. And yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head there with the vetting part of it. I mean, I know I've been burned with outfitters. Like, you know, you go to a show and they got these cool photos and you're like, all right, they seem like they know what they're doing. You end up putting a deposit down, you go and hunt, and it is complete garbage, you know, like horrible. And that's happened to me multiple times. And it's like, God, man. So being able to, for me personally, I go on all these trips, like test them out first and foremost to make sure that they have the animals to, you know, basically sustain this amount of hunters. Like I want my guys successful, even if it means they're not killing 200-inch mule deer. Like I want these guys to go home with me. I want them to like have the fun experience of learning from start to finish what hunting is all about. Because we get a lot of people that have never hunted before, which is also super cool. Yeah, you know, that have followed me or Hendo or whoever, any of these people through their MMA career, and see that we hunt, we live off the wild game, cook these amazing meals with it. Like, man, I want to go do that. Yeah. So they'll book with us, you know, go get their hunter safety done, and they're like their first time ever. And that's pretty damn cool. Like being able to take these men and women who have never done it before, kids sometimes, and just kind of teach them like from start to finish what it's all about. Like that's a huge passion of mine. Like I enjoy that. I love it. And that was one of the main reasons we started Finz and Featherz in the beginning. So yeah, it's been cool.
Try to pass on the hunting heritage in some way. And then also it gives opportunity to these legends in the fight game, or, you know, it's because I mean, they are people, people look up to them, but also it's nice having that camaraderie talked about. Like, yeah, this is more than just this fighter I've seen on TV. Yeah. Here's these other interests he has, this other insight. And it's, you know, everybody, it's like, oh, you're a fighter, but yeah, you're also a hunter and you're this and that. It's like,
get to know more of on a human level, on your normal buddy level, you know, instead of just this savage that goes in there and KOs people in a cage, you know? So it's just a different, different layer to it all, which is kind of cool.
Well, and I mean, you're like a perfect example of that, because fighting in the cage, you're so deadly, but then the nicest guy. It's just like, I don't know.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for being just jacked in the ears, people might not know you're a trained assassin.
Oh man, it's all about flipping the switch, I think. And for me, like my dad always taught us to be humble. You know, like I'm no different than anybody else. I'm just an idiot and get punched in the face for a living. Like that's the route I chose to go. Yeah. And I'm good at it. So, you know, but I'm no different than anybody else. Like there's no reason for me to be arrogant. There's no reason for me to be a dick. And I never understand when there's people like that out there. It's like you're just a human. We're all the same, you know? Yeah. But yeah. We're all just trying to survive here, trying to do something special, but yeah.
No reason to make it harder than it needs to be. So what do your brothers do? I mean, you guys all grew up together, it sounds like. Do they hunt and fish?
I don't think everybody kind of steered away from it. I was really the only one that kind of kept the passion going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No.
You just have brothers or a sister too?
I have brother and sister. So my mom and dad split up when I was little and both got remarried. So I have 2 brothers and a sister on my dad's side and 2 brothers and sister on my mom's side. So I'm the only child from my mom and my dad. So I have half brothers and sisters, but
Right.
yeah, none of them on my dad's side, you know, my two brothers were into the hunting. My sister would go and fish and do stuff like that. But when they got older, nobody really kind of stuck with it. I was really the only one. My pop still hunts. We just went and did a wild boar hunt on that ranch out of Redding I was telling you about.
Nice.
We took my oldest daughter, so that was her first time doing that.
And she's 4.
Yeah, almost 4, and absolutely loved it. We both tagged out on 2 boars that first night, and she got to see the whole thing go down, and showed her how to do all the gutting and skinning process, and showed her where meat comes from. And you know, we talk about that type of stuff in our house all the time, anyways. But had some breakfast sausage made out of it. So when we have breakfast in the morning, I make sure I always tell her, this is the boar that we got, you know, and she loves it, eats it. And, you know, I just, for me as a father now, like being able to share that and pass that down means so damn much to me.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the YouTube thing the other day. And one of the main reasons why I started my YouTube channel, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, was thinking about my kids watching it in the future. Like being able to see dad's hunts with mom or grandpa or whoever, or just by himself from years ago. And now my daughter, like when she gets out of the bath at night, she wants to sit there and watch hunting videos on my YouTube channel. So we'll sit there and,
that's awesome.
You know, we'll watch a couple videos, read books, and that's how she goes to bed at night. So yeah, it's pretty freaking cool.
Well, it's an important lesson for kids to learn about, you know, where food comes from, where meat comes from. Animals have to die for this to happen, and to understand, have a healthy relationship with that, because a lot of people still put on blinders about they're eating this burger or this steak, and they're not correlating it to an animal that was living at one time. So I think it's valuable. I mean, one of the most valuable lessons we can teach our kids.
I agree. Yep, yeah, I agree.
Well, that's exciting. Oh yeah, let me. I had another question for you here. What else are you hunting this season?
So I got those 2 elk in September. I'll be going back to the San Carlos that first week in October. I got a cull bull tag this time. Yeah. So we'll see what we can find. I don't know if we can locate anything like that, but we'll see. But and then I'm going to Idaho with Chrissy Lee Cook for her show. I'm going to go do elk out there mid-October. And then Colorado for a deer and elk. There.
They've killed some bulls on that hunt. She's been doing that. I think her brother goes, and I think she took Hannah Barron last year.
Yep.
Yeah. Looks like they're kind of dialed in on those elk.
Yeah. I think she took Don Jr. there last year too.
Oh,
right?
that's right. Yeah, he did kill. Here's a good one. What is the training like between the UFC and bare knuckle?
Man, basically all I'm doing is boxing and strength and conditioning, you know, body function stuff, you know, trying to stay as mobile as I can, working on being explosive as I can. They're 2-minute rounds. So, you know, it's balls to the wall for short amount of times, very like sprint oriented type training. We do mix in some longer endurance stuff more for building that aerobic capacity, but most of the stuff is just like sprint work stuff. Tons of mitt work, you know, working straight boxing, you know, tightening everything up, keeping as compact and you know, on point with everything as possible. And then working with so that's with Joey, and then my strength conditioning coach is Amadeo, and he just stretches the shit out of me. We do all kinds of, like I said, mobility type stuff, sled push, conditioning, Airdyne. God, I hate that thing, but just a lot of that type of stuff.
So it's way more specialized. You don't have to get the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu and the.
Yeah, that was the hardest thing about MMA, man. And a lot of people don't realize that. But man, you have to train 3-4 times a day because you have so many things you have to, you know, get really good at, because everybody's really good at everything nowadays. You know, it's not the days of, oh, he's just a boxer, you know, or he's just a jits guy. It's like, you got to basically try to master everything. Your boxing, your kickboxing, your wrestling, your jiu-jitsu, strength and conditioning. And it's like, to be able to keep up on all that and just full MMA training. Like, you also have MMA sparring. So, you know, there's just so many facets to it that you have to stay on top of all that. I mean, the chances of overtraining and like being just completely wiped out by the time fight comes is like very high. So you got to be smart about it. But it's I think that was the most difficult part. Like sitting down, I would map out an entire training camp. Obviously, you're adjusting on the fly depending on what the body feels like and what you're doing that day. But man, having everything mapped out, dude, it was crazy. So just focusing on boxing, so like mitt works, boxing sparring, strength and conditioning. It's like it's pretty nice to just focus on pretty much just that.
Oh, what if like this is the perfect thing for you? What if this is what it should have been the whole time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you got good hands, you're compact, you're fast, you're explosive. What if like all that other stuff was to lead up to bare knuckle?
Yeah.
And you're like going to be this bare knuckle icon.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean,
what it could be that.
Yeah, it definitely could be. And I'm here in the moment and I'm enjoying it and I'm here for the ride. So we're just kind of taking it one fight at a time and just seeing what things look like. But hey, I'm not opposed to it, man. If it's the amount of money they're willing to pay, you know, and how much I love the training and how much I love the sport of boxing. Granted, it's bare knuckle; it hurts a little bit more, but man, I could see that happening.
Yeah,
we'll just have to see.
Right. I mean,
if I get out there and KO Eddie quick, or you know, get out there and win this fight, you know, in big fashion, I'm gonna have to talk.
I know. I'm thinking.
I have to have a talk with my wife.
I'm just checking. You're talking, and I'm thinking about all the boxes you're checking. And I'm like, maybe this is it.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I'm so, dude. I get so pumped for these fights, and just like to, I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get you out there for this one.
Oh, I'd love to come. I've never been to one, but I'm obviously a huge Chad Mendes fan. So I'd love to be there. This is a good one. How do you know Cristiano Ronaldo since he follows you on Instagram?
I don't know him, never met him, but that's pretty cool. Somebody else has said that also.
Really?
Yeah. That's super cool.
I mean, I think it's just because you're a badass.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's a stud, man. That's cool. Yeah.
I know. Isn't he like one of the most famous on Instagram or the most followers or something like that?
He's up there. Yeah.
He's a giant and everybody knows him.
Yeah. Yep. No. That's super
and he
cool.
follows you, so there.
Nice.
How old and what distance did you? Oh no, this is for me. They're asking me. This one's for you. How old and what distance did you cover on your first race? I don't even know. It's probably a 5K, and I probably quit. It's 3 miles. What do you prefer, bare knuckle or boxing in general to other styles of fighting? What do you prefer?
Man, I mean, after doing MMA and going over, like what I was just saying, all the training and, you know, I really enjoyed boxing. I've always liked boxing. I mean, obviously wrestling was always my background, you know, but even when I was fighting MMA, my style was boxing and wrestling. Like those were my two like big bases.
And you spar with a really good boxer, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some Golden Glove champions.
And how do you do?
I do really well.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. He pushes me for sure. You know,
is he your size?
Weight wise, he weighs less, but he's taller than me. So he's longer. Man, he's explosive, fast, obviously great boxing. So definitely keeps me on my toes, but man, I do really well. So yeah, I enjoy the sport of boxing outside of taking head damage. Obviously I never want to do that, but just the sport itself and the way that my body has taken to it. And I guess my ability with it, especially being a wrestler, I like it.
What's your strength in boxing? I mean, speed, power?
Yeah, I think speed and power for sure. Yep.
So you got good torque. I mean, does he say when you're sparring that, you know,
power is what
he's feeling it? Because you can tell when somebody can, it looks the same, everything's the same, but
the power is different.
Yeah. There's another little snap to it. And like, God.
Yeah.
I noticed that with like Amanda, woman fighter, but she punches kind of like a guy.
Yeah,
like
dude, she
like
whips him.
At the end, those punches are landing at the end, and it seems really hard. So she's got something about her technique or whatever. So I was wondering if that's you're the same. Your hands are just, you know. I think who's that guy who's fighting Stylebender?
Oh yeah.
what do they call him? Hands of Stone or something like that.
Yeah.
Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
Yeah. He punches hard.
Hard. Yes.
And when I saw some footage of him the other day. He doesn't look super smooth style-wise, but for whatever reason, Hands of Stone land. So it's just some weird thing. Some people just punch hard. But let's see. Well, what would you be doing if you never started fighting?
Man, that's a tough question. My degree was in kinesiology. Ideally, like PT or, that's probably where I was leaning, physical therapy type stuff. But man, probably down that road, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Yeah, like training or something with...
Either like a physical therapist, maybe even coaching. Maybe I would have got into like wrestling coaching, tried to pick up maybe at a college or I don't know, maybe going down that path. But I honestly didn't think a ton about it because I already knew I was going into the fight world. Like my third year, I signed a contract with my management group, and like I had already known that was what I was going to do. So, the thought of, because your first 2-3 years of college, I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. Yeah, I picked physical therapist as my
major.
Well, it was kinesiology, but that was like my mindset at first. And then I was like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah.
Like, then I tested out some of the teaching stuff, and I'm like, God, I don't know if I want to do this either. So I kind of dabbled a little bit the first 3 years in different things. But yeah, I basically signed that contract, talked to Uriah, and was like, all right, let's just give this a try. And I don't know if I just had too much confidence in myself at that point, but I just kind of like quit thinking about the career stuff.
Yeah.
And was just like,
I'm going to
go do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I did have some doubt there for a little bit. I'm like, look, I'll go try this. Like, I guess if I get my butt kicked and I just suck at this, then we'll think about it. But I don't know. That didn't last too long. I was basically just like, let's do this.
Yeah.
So,
and it sounds like Uriah was a big part of your decision.
Yeah.
He's been a big influence on you.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Uriah was honestly the person that got me involved in this altogether. But, so every summer, our coach at Cal Poly would put on like a 6-week-long wrestling camp for young kids up in Squaw Valley, like Tahoe area. And obviously all of us Cal Poly wrestlers would go, and we'd be like instructors and camp counselors and stuff. Well, Uriah was at UC Davis. He brought him in also and was paying him to be one of the instructors. But Uriah was getting ready for a fight. And that was my the summer between freshman year and sophomore year, so my first and second year. And Uriah was there, and he was getting ready for a fight, and he kept rolling with these guys, and he's trying to train jiu-jitsu, and we're all wrestlers, and he just kept hurting everybody. And people are like, I don't want to work out with you, dude. Like, Faber's style is very explosive and spastic and all over the place, And I was like, basically he was like, dude, I gotta have somebody to train with, or I gotta leave. I gotta go back and like, I gotta fight. So I was like, I'll train with you. I'll roll with you. So I rolled with him for like a couple hours, and he submitted me probably 4,000 times, but I didn't know what I was doing. But he's like, dude, I think you'd be really good at this. He's like, if you want to give it a try, he's like, just so you know, I'll have space up there. Team Alpha Male, I have Team Alpha Male in Sacramento, and I was just like, all right, I don't know, we'll think about it. But yeah, towards the end of I was at my third year in college, I was like, maybe that was my fourth year. I was like, all right, I'm doing this. I took him up on it. But yeah, Uriah was big influence, obviously always very business minded as well. Has kind of helped me and motivate me into starting the businesses we've done and staying on top of all that stuff and just trying to stay motivated in that world as well. Faber's, a big influence in that sense for sure.
Yeah. At one time, that Team Alpha Male was like the team. It seems like you and TJ and
Benavidez and Faber and Danny Castillo, and I forget how many. I feel like we had like 13 or 14 people in the UFC at one time, which I think at that time was like unheard of. Yeah,
I know everybody was. Everybody knew Team Alpha Male for sure.
We had Dwayne Ludwig was in there, our head striking coach, and yeah, man, it was a good one. That was definitely
there's some magic there.
I'd say the peak
Yeah.
That was definitely the peak.
Yeah. Nothing lasts forever.
No.
Everybody goes, but you guys have all had your own success, and, you know, it's been amazing to watch. The last question that I saw there that we'll wrap up with that is, so why'd you agree to do the podcast?
Are you kidding me? It's a campaign, dog. No, man, we've been talking about either linking up for a hunt, doing some training shooting, probably for the last 4 or 5 years or more, you know. And when I saw you started this, I was like, bro, I got to go do this. So,
I'm so thankful you came.
Dude, I'm beyond stoked. This is cool.
I'm a fan. I love watching you. I love your spirit. And then training with you was awesome.
Heck yeah. Yeah, we got to do a little bit in Utah out there, remember, at the Hunt Expo and stuff, but it was just a little bit of weight stuff. But yeah, this was cool.
I think we got some dumbbells out there, didn't we?
Yeah. I think we were pumping the hundos. Yeah.
I don't know. You look pretty strong today. It's just like, I think I'm getting older and you're getting stronger. So I don't know. I'm very thankful, Chad. Thank you for coming and doing the Lift Run Shoot with me in the podcast. Again, I'm a fan. I think you're going to be that bare knuckle, the face of bare knuckle. And I think we're going to cement that with a big win against Eddie Alvarez. And thank you so much. Keep hammering, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We can't wait to do it again.
All right.
Every step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use. Every comment, hate that makes my fuel. Gather up my energy and boom. I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with. Giving my blood, so I am relentless. My fault. They want someone to blame. They sent their hate. It fuels my pace. I am Roy Tough. I am the change, the fuel in dirt. Feeling like Cam Hanes.